You are listening to the Millionaire Architect Podcast with Matt Ganzak.
What's up, guys? This is Matt, and this is the Millionaire Architect Podcast. This is the first episode, and I want to welcome you here. Our objective is to give you some amazing value. That is my end objective of this podcast. We're going to be interviewing people, and we're going to be giving you some awesome steps that you can take in your business as you're constructing your empire, and we're going to be encouraging you to get moving. This is accountability as well, because I'll tell you at the end of the day, I've written a lot of business plans, and maybe I'll read some of them on here later in future episodes. But I'll tell you, a lot of the business plans that I wrote are still things that I'm working on executing today. When I wrote a lot of these business plans and a lot of the things that I started working on sometime around 2009, 2010, those things I'm still working on today. And I spent probably about 4 years talking about doing something and really not putting the pedal to the metal and getting to work. So we're going to talk a little bit about my background here. Those of you who are wondering, who I am, what I have done, why you should listen to me. My background originally was in radio and broadcasting. I was originally an on-air personality, and I was doing voiceovers and doing things like that. And what I found was I ended up being really good at helping to write copy and writing commercials. So I started creating commercials and started doing it then. And then I started having clients come forward and say, hey, do you know how to build a website? And me being the person that I am and just saying, yeah, I'll figure it out. I don't know how to do it today. I'll know how to do it next week. So I started working on creating websites. I started working on developing websites for clients. And I'll tell you, it was like, all right, now you created a website. How do you rank in search engines? Now this is like 2007. How do you rank in search engines? Hey, what's this Google AdWords thing? How does that work? And then, hey, what's this thing? Hey, what's that thing? So I slowly started building all these experiences just based upon a need and a want. And those were my clients, and that turned into what I do today. So fast forwarding a little bit further, I started a agency. I left the radio station, started an agency, and I was doing marketing and doing pretty well. I had 4 or 5 clients and doing pretty well at that time. Then the market started collapsing. And what I found was that a lot of my clients didn't want to invest while the market was collapsing, 2007, 2008. They didn't really want to invest into new websites and new marketing. And digital marketing was so new. It wasn't something that was what it is today, 10 years later. And what I typically found was that a lot of doors were closing on digital marketing. It was like everyone was just holding on to their last dollar and trying to weather the storm. So what I did was I was like, all right, I'm either, because I was living in Florida at the time, I was like, either I'm going to move to New York City or I'm going to move to LA and go and find my place in the world, right? So I ended up choosing New York City. I'd never been to New York before. I had enough money. I sold every single thing that I owned. Sold all my guitars. You can kind of see in the video. Understand the podcast, you can't really see, but we also put these on video as well, so you can check that out. But yeah, I sold all my guitars, sold my guitar amps, sold everything I owned. I literally sold my bed, and I started sleeping on the floor in 2008. I sold my silverware. I don't know who would want to buy my silverware, but I ended up selling every single thing that I owned. And what I did was I built myself a website, and it was mattganzak.com. I built a website, and I really advertised myself. And then I went out and got every single client, every single person I'd ever worked with to post a comment on my blog. And I separated into my past, my present, and my future. And the future was me getting a job with your company. And then I sent that across to companies trying to find a job in New York. So what I ended up doing, selling everything I owned, and I moved to New York City with literally no money. I had probably $150 to my name. I was really super skinny because I wasn't able to feed myself for several months. Basically, the lights got turned off. I wasn't able to afford my rent towards the end there. So it was like, all right, this is my all in, right? I am going to come ashore and burn the lifeboats. There is no turning back. So I ended up moving to New York City, and I go in for a job interview, right? I put all of my money down on an apartment in New York, and I go in for this job interview, and the guy's like, all right, why should I hire you? And I was like, I'm an all-in type guy, and I'm going to go all in on your business. He's like, all right, give me an example. All right, well, I live in New York now. I know that I'm just here for an interview with you, but I now live here in New York. I got an apartment. Where's your apartment? It's on the corner of 8th and 1st Ave. So St. Mark's and 1st Ave. Awesome spot in New York City. And I've been here a week now, just getting acclimated. I did a test run to make sure I would be on time for this interview. I actually did a test run on the trains just to make sure that I would make it, and I knew where to go on that day and which door to go through and everything and so forth. They're like, wow, you are very particular. I'm like, yeah, I am very, very particular, and I will make sure that every single thing is perfectly aligned, so I'm not going to be late. I'm not going to miss this appointment. I'm not going to miss this opportunity. So he's like, wow, that's incredible. And then he's like, all right, well, so what happens if you don't get this job? I said, well, I brought a backup. I used to bartend when I was in college, and I brought my bartending stuff. I'll go and get a bar job. I'm sure a lot of people like drinking in New York, and I'll serve them drinks, right? Like that could be my backup. And the guy's like, all right, so let me get this straight. You moved to New York City for a job interview. You brought your bartending equipment just in case you have to go and get another job, and everything is hinging on this interview. And I was like, yeah, that's it. Everything is hinging on this interview right now. So it was a job working for one of the top 100 most visited websites online at that time. And it was being a graphic designer. And I'll tell you, my graphic design sucks, right? I'll be the first to tell you, it sucks. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get this job as a graphic designer. He's like, all right, well, what I want you to do is I want you to come in and work for one day with us, and let's see how everything works out, and then we'll take it from there. So then we got down to money, right? We started talking about money. It's my negotiation here. So we started talking about money, and he's like, this job is for $30,000 a year plus benefits and so forth. The benefits are great, but it's $30,000 a year. I said, well, I want to talk about that. That's not going to work for me. I'm going to need 60. He's like, whoa, dude, I have budgeted $30,000 for this, for your job, plus benefits. And I was like, okay, I'm going to need 60 plus the benefits. And then a possible raise in a couple months. And he's like, okay. I understand that you just booked and paid for and signed a lease on an apartment. And I understand that that apartment is somewhat expensive, and it is expensive to live here in New York. I understand all these things. So let's hinge everything on your performance tomorrow coming in and working with us for one day. So my job going in for that next day, we shook on it and said, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. So I go in, I'm like dressed to the tens. Like I am looking fly. I got the nice shoes on. I got the nice slacks. I got the sport coat. I got my, nice jacket and everything. And my boss comes over, CEO comes over. He looks me up and down. He's like, thought you were a graphic designer. I was like, I am. He's like, well, sounds like you're a salesperson and we're hiring a graphic designer. So we'll see how you do today. So they gave me a project. They gave me their best performing landing page. And keep in mind, this landing page has signed up tens of millions of people to it. And they said, beat it. I need you to beat this landing page. I need you to create one. I need you to design it. I need you to put it into HTML. I need it to be functional. And I need to have that ready to go. And this is before responsive CSS and whatnot. But this is before all of that. So I just designed it in Photoshop, put it into Dreamweaver, and designed this thing. It was horrible. Like, it was the ugliest looking thing I've ever done in my possible entire life. And like, my head was down. I was way down. I was so upset. I'm like, all right, I blew it. I'm like getting like my little bartending book out and like, okay, a Manhattan is made with, just trying to get that going back in my mind. Like, all right, I'm going to be serving drinks next week. I totally blew it. So I hand him in this, the work, right? And then I go in and sit down and talk to the vice president of marketing. He's like, all right, well, you did that really quickly, which is great, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the CEO says. So I get on the train to go home, and I'm down. I am down and out. And by the time I got off the train, because you don't get cell service on the train, I had my little Razor phone. This is like pre-iPhone back then. My little Razor phone, pop it open. I got a voicemail, right, from a 212 number. Pop it open, and I'm like listening. It's like, hey, Matt, some good news. You got the job. And also, we're going to give you the $60,000 a year and a review in 6 months to take you up from there. And we possibly might want you to manage our entire creative team. Oh my God. I had that moment in life where you jump up in the air and just like, you just get stuck in the air. Like, yes. And I had that moment. I had that moment running around New York, like hugging random strangers on the street because I was so excited. Keep in mind, I had no friends there. I had one person that I grew up with like a long time ago that I knew. But other than that, I mean, I didn't know anybody in New York. So I'm like, I have never been that excited in my entire life. And I didn't even have anyone to celebrate with. It was insane. And I didn't have any money to celebrate. I didn't have a bed. I didn't have anything. All I had was the 3 bags of clothes that I brought with me, which was literally everything I owned at that point, and a laptop. And that's literally all I had. So I celebrated with $3 slices of pizza. It was $3, flat rate, no tax, $3. That was my celebration because that's all I could afford. For that next 2 weeks, I started working with them, eating dollar slices of pizza every single day. They catered in a lunch, so that was fantastic. What I started doing is at the end of the day, there was food left over. So before the cleaning ladies came through and threw everything away, I'd go in and grab a bunch of food and take a bunch of food home. So if I couldn't do that, if all the food was gone or already thrown away, then I would just get dollar slices of pizza. On the weekends, I just ate dollar slices of pizza. And I lived like that for about 4 weeks, because when I got my first paycheck 2 weeks later, I took that money and went and bought a bed, because for the first couple of weeks, I was just sleeping on the hardwood floor, covering up with my clothes, and I didn't have blankets. I didn't have anything like that. So yeah, I moved to New York City with $0, and I literally covered up with my own clothing in order to stay warm in October 2008. So fast forward, I did great with that company, helped them get onto AdWords, and it started advertising for that company, spent millions of dollars in advertising, signed up tens of millions of people to their offers, grew them exponentially. And there was a point in time that the CEO said in a meeting, if it wasn't for Matt, our company would have went out of business. Then the company was sold as part of an acquisition, and I went on to continue doing what I do today for other customers, clients, and building products and building things. So that's my background in a nutshell, but it's kind of my hero story in terms of, you know, really anything that you need to accomplish in life is absolutely in front of you. All you have to do is be willing to work for it. So I remember going home and teaching myself how to use Illustrator, using my last dollars to purchase Adobe, right? So I could have that at home, so I could learn how to, you know, do other graphics work, taught myself how to do video work. I've always been in music, so audio work is easy for me. But on the other side, it's like, you know, I had to teach myself how to do the things that I do today. And every single thing that I've learned has been 100% completely self-taught. At this point in time, I'm even teaching myself how to code in different programming languages. So I'm getting down Ruby on Rails, starting to understand that platform. PHP, I'm kind of forced into it because, you know, WordPress is on PHP, so I forced myself into that language. And then some additional, you know, back-end languages. One of our platforms is built in Java and so forth. So I dig into the code and I try to learn exactly how these things work. And now I'm able to employ people. I have a couple dozen people that we employ, and I'm able to, you know, learn how to do the things that we do. So every single day I learn something new. I'm continuing to forward and continuing to innovate and be that architect that I've always wanted to be technically, but come to find out you had to have some sort of architecture degree. It's like it's like in what was that movie? Step Brothers. Like, oh, why didn't Dale leave leave the home? Well, he quit college and came home and just said, I wanted to join the family business, right? And well, did you tell him that you're a medical doctor and being a medical doctor required a degree? He's like, yeah, but he keeps saying that it's not the degree, it's who you know. And that's always been my thought, as my family has been in radio my entire life. But then come to find out, once I was in radio, like, listen, back in the day, I was 8 years old and I was doing board hopping and whatnot, right? So, but come to find out that there's no money in radio, at least not the freedom and the lifestyle and the thing that I wanted my entire life did not exist while in radio. Sure, I could crack open a mic and say, hey, call this limo service and they'll do amazing stuff for you. And then that limo would come and pick me up and take me out for the night. So sure, that was cool. When you be on the air and you could say whatever you want and people would do cool things for you. That was awesome. But that stuff didn't pay my bills. That stuff was not forwarding my life. That wasn't helping me achieve my goals. So I decided early on at like 23 years old, I'm not going to coast. I'm not going to coast. I refuse to be mediocre in life. I refuse to do mediocre work. I refuse to spend my life and not leave a legacy. I refuse to not be something great and achieve my greatness. So I made the decision when I was 23, which was 15 years ago. 12 years ago. I made that. How old am I? I made that decision 12 years ago. I was not going to coast in life. So I've been on this mission to figure that out. So, I always wanted to be some sort of architect. I knew that I didn't want to work on homes or anything like that because that really didn't interest me. I was always interested in video games and things like that. But I did not know that internet architecture in building things online and building an online empire would be an opportunity. So now I own 3 software platforms. I have a best-selling book, The $1 Million Plan, Leveraging Technology to Scale. I have some online training through Scale Up Academy, teaching people how to do digital marketing like I do. And we have so many great things that are coming out, and you'll get to know some of the other things as we go forward. I'm not really a hype guy. I'm not really a guy that likes talking about himself or talking about accomplishments and whatnot. I just like sharing. I like sharing experiences. I like sharing what I find that works. And the thing that I love the most in this world is seeing other people succeed, coming through the motivation, the accountability, and the knowledge that I can pass on. So that is my goal in life, is to help people. And I have this belief in life that we were here and put here for a reason. And my reason, my spirituality is to take care of other people and to help other people to improve their life. I believe that we live in abundance. We live in a world of abundance, and the opportunity is to help other people. And I believe solely on helping 1 million people, and that is my goal, and that's what I'm trying to do in this lifetime. And I'll do the best I can, the very, very best I can, working hard every single day to try to help you guys. And so if you can hear this, if you can hear my voice, know that every single thing that I am doing from here on forward is not self-serving. It is humble and selfless to try to help you guys. So developed a supplement product line with a couple other entrepreneurs. We'll get to talk a little bit about that. Software, amazing software that you guys can all use. One of the software platforms called My Credits. This show is actually brought to you by My Credits because I love that software so very much. I developed that software. It's been 2 years in the making. I developed this software from a need for those people that want to have their people engage with their content and reward them for the engagement with their content. So if you watch these videos on my YouTube channel, on any of my websites, mattganzak.com, scaleupacademy.com, or any of my websites, millionairearchitect.com, you will actually earn credits that redeem to cash every single month. And I put money into a pool every single month. And depending on how much video and how much you engage with, you will earn credits, and I will actually pay you for watching my videos. So I wanted to develop a software platform that actually incentivized people to learn, because I believe if you take the time and you learn, and if I can incentivize you and give you an ethical bribe to say, please take the time out of your day. I know your time is valuable, but take the time out of your day to learn something new today. Because the place that I came from, being dead broke, being down to, I think it was like 150 pounds or 140 some odd pounds, like being down to like just withered down to nothing because I couldn't even afford to feed myself because I had to choose to keep the internet on and the lights on so I could continue putting out job applications versus feeding myself and so forth like that. So I chose to keep the lights on and keep the internet on so I could continue putting out job applications and continue working. So that got me to the place that I could earn $60,000 a year, which I never thought I would earn $60,000 a year. Now I earn more than that every single month. So it's amazing that every single thing that I know is self-taught. I've learned through YouTube. I've learned through other entrepreneurs. I've learned through other courses that I've taken and other things that I've gone through. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, the best thing that you can do in this world is you can create power inside of you by tooling yourself and becoming that greatness that you want to be. You can never expect anyone to come forward and give you everything in the world. Sure, you can get a break here and there, but that greatness has to come from inside you. No one is ever going to give it to you. So you have two choices in this world. Either you're going to live this life of saying, I want to learn, I want to absorb as much as I can, I want to forward my life as far as I can, and I want to be great, or you want to win the lottery. And you only have two choices in this world. Either you're going to wait to win the lottery or you're going to do it. And I'm telling you right now, I'm the person that got up and did it. And I would have never expected that I would be able to do the things that I do today and be able to live the life that I'm able to live today. So I'm so grateful for this world and so grateful for everyone in it. And I'm so happy that you decided to listen to the Millionaire Architect podcast. Thank you so much for joining. And I look forward to bringing you more and more value as we go forward. This was my story, and this was the introduction to the Millionaire Architect podcast. Have a great one. Be awesome today. See you guys.
You are listening to the Millionaire Architect Podcast with Matt Ganzak, brought to you by MyCredits. MyCredits. Reward your loyal customers for watching your videos and engaging with your business. Your customers will love you for it.